Hello, everyone, and welcome to another episode of Investor Conversation. Today, I'm speaking with my good friend Max Molter.
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me.
So glad to have you on the channel, buddy. So you're from the few people that I kept contact with, and we talk quite often. So let's talk markets. How's it
Sure.
going? How's it going?
It's going okay, I would say. I mean, Nasdaq is down like 6 to 7% from its all-time high.
Yes.
And of course, my portfolio got hit a bit too, but it's okay. I mean, I'm
Yeah.
still up for the year and everything's fine.
Yesterday was a quite bad day.
Yeah, but I had gold. So I only lost 0.5%, so it's fine for me. But
Yeah, for me, I think it was 0.8% because, and I was only 0.8% because my second largest position is Nvidia. Nvidia went down 10% yesterday, and I believe that was that, that was the whole reason of Nasdaq going down 2.5% yesterday. The whole thing started with Nvidia, and then everything followed.
yeah,
But
I saw Super Micron lost 23%, I think, just in
mhm,
one day.
yeah, and ARM, the British company ARM. They
Yeah,
made it was down 16%. So, those volatile stocks, if you want to hold them on the way up, it's fun. But on the way
yeah,
down, you're gonna have to be a little bit patient with them. And hopefully you didn't buy them too high. I'm not talking about you, I'm talking in general. If you
yeah.
if you bought them, hopefully you didn't buy them too well.
Yeah, I've got GCT. I don't know if you know the company. It's quite small. A Giga Cloud Tech. So
Yeah.
it's a cloud company. And I bought it at the start of the year, and it went up during February to plus 140% in 2 months. And then it went down. So I was even. And then it went up again to plus 90%. And now I'm at plus 70% or something. So
Most
it's just that.
most people would have sold up 20%, 30%.
Yeah.
Nobody really is holding a stock. It doesn't matter how small your position is. Nobody, I mean, other than me and you, of course, nobody's holding the stock going up 140%, then going all the way down, and then going up again. I mean, it takes some guts and some conviction for you to do something like that. And that's the reason why I'm holding Nvidia during this whole couple of days, is because I'm up 250%.
Mhm.
So going down 10% a day doesn't really bother me. I mean,
Yeah, sure.
my
I mean, you
portfolio,
already made a lot of money, so
yeah, my portfolio feels the volatility, but you play differently when you are up on a position a couple of times,
yeah,
2x, 3x, you have a different perspective. But when you buy something and for some reason the timing is wrong, which happens to all of us, I'm sure happens to you too, you buy
yeah,
something and then the next day goes down 10%, and you're in a hole in that 10% for sometimes for months. Try to get it, but it's fine. That's the game, right? That's the game we
yeah.
play.
I mean, if you know when you will sell it before you buy it, then I think nothing can really happen.
Yes.
For example, I buy stocks at the start of the year,
Hmm.
stocks I think that will outperform. And at the end of the year, I sell them and buy a new selection of stocks. So for me, it's I will hold them throughout the whole year anyway, so I don't have to care that much about daily fluctuations.
You know what? I agree. I don't do it like that, but I agree if you want to go heavy in some positions, do it in the beginning of the year.
Mm,
So so you're saying that, I know because we talked about this in private, but just want to the people that are watching. So you buy them in the beginning of the year, you make your selection prior to the beginning of the year. Beginning of the year you start buying, and then you're not buying anything towards the end of the year. You're waiting, or you're just adjusting as you go.
no, I just basically nothing. I mean, I've got my position, which I correct my market beta.
Yes.
So I've got long and short positions in
Hmm.
different stocks, and they balance each other out. And for market exposure, I've got a position in an S&P, the SPXL. It's a 3 times leveraged ETF. S&P.
Of course, yes.
Yeah, I like leverage.
Yeah, I mean, as long as it's working for you, there's nothing wrong with it.
Yeah, I mean, with leverage, of course, you always have to consider that your whole position is gone one day.
Yes.
I mean, if we have a 33% drop in the market on one day, which I don't know if it will happen, but it might happen one day.
Yes.
I mean, the whole position is gone,
Yes.
but it's fine. I mean, it's 20% of the capital, so even if the S&P drops 33% in a day, I'm still better than the S&P. So,
And so are you up now year to date?
yeah, I'm up 2.5%. I
Okay.
already was up 6%, but
Yeah, the last few days, everyone that is mostly long positions cut a bit down. What I'm
no,
saying is, if you are up for the year, then you can relax more with your positions.
that's true.
It's when you are down, it's the stress start eating you, like because you're using leverage and you don't want this whole thing to go against you like too fast. But once you are up, then everything is good.
Yeah, that's true. But I also got a stop. So when the S&P will break through the 200-day moving average, I just go out.
Oh yeah, I'm completely the opposite. I don't use stop losses for nothing. I want to make the decision to sell or buy more because yeah, but we have different styles, of course. So my style is don't have stop losses. I don't want to be automatic. I want to make the decision, okay, this is too much. I'm getting out of this. Or maybe, okay, let everyone get out of this and I'm gonna buy more. So that's
Yeah,
basically
sure.
that's basically the two options I usually come up to when there is a sharp sell-off like this. So how did you react the last week with the conflict in Iran and Israel?
I basically didn't react at all
You didn't do anything?
because no, a year ago, something like that, I would have reacted because
Mm-hmm.
a year ago I was much more trading like a macro trader. So I
Mm-hmm.
would have probably, I mean, I thought oil wouldn't go up that much, and I actually thought about if oil would skyrocket, I would just short it on the way down
Mm-hmm.
because I didn't really believe in that. But I've made mistakes in the past, and for me, a trading system where I just rely on rules that I have established before, for me, that works just best.
Yeah, yeah. You like the rule-based approach instead of making a judgment, seeing the development and making a judgment as you go.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Uh, it's because of last year, because I had a pretty bad year last year. Because I was actually, I mean, I finished slightly up, but I mean, I was up 1% or something while the S&P skyrocketed.
Mm-hmm.
And it was the result of me thinking. So a year before that, I basically predicted the crash. So I went market neutral. I didn't lose
Mm-hmm.
nearly anything. And I always thought, oh, I will know the right time to re-enter the market,
Yes. Yeah.
and
That's a tough
didn't
one.
work at all.
Yeah.
Didn't work at all. And that taught me the lesson that I just have to have rules before, and then nothing can happen.
Yeah, trying to get the timing right. And you know what? We all make mistakes. Like, there is not one investor that, even the best ones, they make some mistakes sometimes, you know? This is like a wrong, you are thinking the wrong way, or maybe you thought the situation would be different, and you get into a situation that it was wrong. Okay. As long you are not wiped out and your portfolio is not zero, then you live to invest another day. So wait, what did you do in 2022? What was your performance in 2022?
I think it's down 0.16% or something.
So basically, the trouble you avoided the year prior,
No.
Yeah, so isn't that bad. I was down quite a lot on 2022. I was down 23%, but I recovered in 2023. But it's because I'm a long only I'm a long net long, not net long only. So
Mm.
I don't use leverage or I don't short sell. So it's expected to happen. But so tell me how is the coverage of the war in Germany?
There's not that much coverage, I would say, actually.
No?
You mean, or do you mean Ukraine, or do you mean Iran and
Oh
Israel?
yeah, you're right. No, I'm talking about the Iran Israel.
Yeah,
Uh,
there's not that much coverage.
how much coverage?
I mean, I don't watch German news that much. I've got the Wall Street Journal, and I mostly
I'm the
read
same.
that. But I mean, of course, it's talked about.
Uh-huh.
But Ukraine, Russia was so much more talked about. It's
Yes,
like,
because it's closer to your borders, so it matters more. But I would think that Germany is a major power, it's like the third largest economy or the fourth. What is it?
the
Third?
third,
The
third
third.
now. Yeah,
So, when conflicts are happening like that, who is going there to get in the middle? It's usually the major powers. They're gonna go there.
yeah,
But Germany traditionally, I mean, in the last half a century or so, they tried to avoid doing that. They tried to,
yeah, because of the past. Yeah,
yeah, they
because
tried
they're
to,
afraid to rule power over somebody else,
yeah, they
basically.
tried to avoid to do that. Even though I disagree they do that, and we talked about this in person before. I disagree the way they go about it because they are a major power and they should have a say, whatever
Yeah,
it's happening around them. You know what I mean?
yeah, definitely. But I mean, they don't want the responsibility,
They want the
and so
responsibility, yeah. And you
um,
know what? It's for the better. Let the Americans figure this out.
I think you're one of the few people that would say that.
Let the Americans figure this out. Uh,
I think many people outside of America won't like that.
no, you know what? If they didn't like it, they would remove the bases from Germany. But they do like
Yeah,
it. They don't want to admit it, but they do like it. We're gonna figure this out, and it is what it is. So what I was saying. Uh, so let's say something unexpected happens. You're not adjusting whatsoever your portfolio.
no, not really. I
No.
mean, I would if the S&P breaks through the 200-day moving average, I would close that position, and then my portfolio is almost market neutral.
Okay,
I mean, I've
so you do adjusting as you go.
yeah, just this one position basically,
One position, okay.
and I've got a trading strategy basically on bonds too.
Yes.
So I go long or short bonds depending on the signals.
Which one? The TLT?
No, the leverage 20 years for long,
Oh,
three
yes.
times leverage, and for short, the two times leverage.
Yes, you like to keep things exciting. Uh,
Yeah, but it actually helps. I mean, for example, the last 2 weeks I was short long-term bonds. I
mhm.
made like 8%. It definitely helped me get through all this. But yeah, no, I would adjust those probably because the signals would be affected by a crash. So
Mhm.
it would be more likely that I would be long bonds. So actually, if there would be a huge crash, I would probably lose like 8%, 9% in
Mhm.
the first few weeks. And then I guess I would recover like 5% or something in the weeks after through my long bond positions.
Yeah, in the
And
beginning,
then it's fine.
initially during the crash, they all go down together.
Yeah.
Then once they realize what is happening, then the bonds they're gonna rally like they always do. But
Yeah. And
initially, they all go down together. Bitcoin, whatever, maybe gold is not going down.
mm,
Rest of them are going down altogether. And you can't make sense what is happening, why everything is going down, and you panicking and you start selling. The people that don't sell right there are the people that usually make the money. They can,
yeah, in crashes, definitely.
yeah. In
I
the
mean,
Go
I
ahead.
think the most important thing that you have to do as an investor or a trader
Mhm.
is basically to have a clear strategy before something happens.
Yes,
And to know if you're a trader or an investor. Because if you're an investor, you're not going to sell anything
yes.
during a crash. You might just buy more, but you won't sell anything. And as a trader, it's basically your job to get out.
To get out, yeah. get out as more, minimize the losses as possible, and then leave to fight another day. That's how it goes. And sometimes people confusing the two.
Yeah, exactly. That's what I wanted to say. Yeah.
No, go ahead. Continue your.
Yeah, no, it's just sometimes people think they're investors,
Mm-hmm.
and then during a crash, it turns out they're suddenly traders,
Mm-hmm.
and then they lose money and don't own any stocks when the market goes up again.
Yeah, and or the other way, they're usually traders, and when they get into a long position, they get into a long position and it goes against them, they decide to become investors. They
Yeah.
decide to become long-term investors so they can, yeah.
No.
Both of them are true, and we see them every day. So what is your opinion about the CPI? What do you think is happening with inflation?
Well, I mean, it's slightly higher than expected.
Mm-hmm.
I said at the start of the year, I don't think the Fed is gonna cut that much,
Mm-hmm.
simply because I mean, Jerome Powell is a huge fan of Volcker, who
Mm-hmm.
raised interest rates to like 15% to fight inflation. And I mean, everybody thinks they're gonna cut rates and everything is gonna be fine. And that's why the stock market was so strong and stuff like that. And I just think, why should they cut rates when the stock market is already strong? You know?
No,
And the
I mean, they don't cut. They're not cutting the rates for the stock market. The stock market is just a side effect of the whole situation. It's the economy. The economy is really strong. So why are you thinking of cutting when the economy it's red hot?
exactly. I mean, the economy is probably a bit hard because of the expectations of cutting rates,
Yes.
because people think everything is going to be fine. We don't have to save that much. We can spend more. But in the end, if that happens, if people still spend much, why should they cut rates when they risk inflation going up again? I just think it's kind of unrealistic to expect the Fed to cut like 4 times something. I think at the start of the year it was 4 times or something.
In the beginning of the year it was 7 times. They were
Or
expecting
7.
7 times.
I think it's completely unrealistic.
Yes.
I think they will keep up. I don't think they will hike again, but I think they will keep them up longer than expected. They might have one cut or something, but
That's what I think.
yeah.
That's what I think too. Maybe we're gonna get maybe one in September, but after September, because November is the election, okay, you don't want to be cutting and hiking too close to the election because then you become political.
Yeah.
You know? Jay Powell is going to be seen as trying to help Biden, even though he's not going to be doing that. The timing is just unfortunate that it came down to the end of the year. So I think we're getting one, maybe two, but we're not getting more than two. And in the beginning of the
Definitely.
year, when I was posting, I said, you know what? I don't know about those 7 cuts. Maybe we're gonna get a couple of them, few of them, but I don't think they're gonna be 7 because the economy is very hard. Why would you cut rates when the economy is good? The whole point is to hold them up, and when the economy has some trouble, then you start cutting so you can stimulate the economy, right?
Yeah,
That's
exactly. That's the thing.
it's
I
like,
mean,
yeah.
yeah, no, go on.
So what I was saying, yeah. So there is a sequence that's supposed to go with, but the markets and the futures markets, they just predicted 7 cuts, and then they predicting 7 cuts. Then investors started predicting 7 cuts. Then the markets are rallying. Then retail investors then jumping in, they're buying Bitcoin at 65,000 and all that. And then we're in the mess we are today. Then the Fed comes to readjust expectations, and he's trying so hard to manage expectations but not crush the market.
Yeah,
Okay.
you really see that when he
Yeah.
sometimes hints, yeah, maybe we will cut, maybe.
Yes.
Yeah,
It's
he
like,
doesn't want to.
I mean, if you are a guy, okay, it's like he looks like a guy that doesn't want to get married. It's maybe, we will see, we're gonna see the data and all that. I mean, it's clear, and most people don't even watch the press conferences. I mean,
Yeah.
I mean, you have to watch them to get an idea what he's saying. I don't want to read it from a newspaper. I want to see it with my own two eyes. Like, it's one press conference every couple of months. It's not like he does them every day. So, and I was like, you know what? He's not cutting until, and then the CPI comes and it goes 3 months the other way. Instead of going down, was going up. And we're in the situation we are. And the timing, of course, unfortunate as always, the conflict in Iran and Israel.
No.
And then you have the whole storm of the wrong things happening at the same time. And you're investing and you investing on behalf of other people. And you try to make
Yeah.
sense, right? You're trying to make
Yeah.
sense of the situation.
Yeah. I think it's kind of hard for investors copying us too, because I don't know if you have the same thing, but always when the market crashes and I don't lose that much, I get a lot of copiers. And
Yes.
then when the market recovers, I of course have less risk, so I will not make as much as the S&P when the market rises, and then I lose a lot of copiers again.
Yes, it happens to
So
me.
always when it's the worst time to copy me, people are copying me, and when it's the best time to copy me, nobody does.
Yeah, because it's the perception that when you are up, you are less risky, which is not true. It's like exactly the opposite.
No.
It's when you are down. I mean, it's like, I mean, if you think about it, popular investors are like ETFs.
Yeah, kind of. Yeah.
You're an ETF, you're an ETF manager, and you're managing your positions, and then you can choose, you can pick and choose. You can choose me and be boring long only, or you can choose you and be more exciting, a little bit more risk. You can adjust different styles, and then you can pick and choose. You can go through the portfolio and see the individual positions where they are. Okay, this guy is up 5% for the year. Why? And then you see Nvidia is up. That is up. Then you have to make a judgment like, okay, is he going further up than right here, or is going down from here? And then you have to take into consideration the judgment of the popular investor, because not all popular investors are created equal. Some people, they get panicky in times of a pullback or a correction. I mean, we see them every day. They're gonna post that everything is fine. I'm just getting out because I want to be. No, dude, you panicked.
Yeah. Yeah. If you're an investor, you can't do that,
Yeah.
basically.
If you're an investor, you're actually waiting. You're actually waiting for those little pullbacks and corrections so you can buy more.
Yeah, that's why for me it's perfect to just have a system that I can go after, because I can explain it to my copiers, and they will know what I will do.
Yeah.
So they will know, okay, the S&P is currently falling 10%. It just broke through the 200-day moving average. You will get out now, and then I don't have any market risk anymore.
Yeah. So you're trying to explain to them what you're doing on a weekly basis?
Yeah, kind of. I mean, I've got one post pinned where all my strategies are explained, at least. Yeah, they explained slightly. I didn't want to go into too much detail, but it's explained when I will buy or when I will sell, and they can just read that if they want. I mean, when I would copy a portfolio, I would look at the pinned post because they probably contain the most important information.
Yes.
And then they'll know. And when I close a position or something like that, I make daily updates and I will mention it. Today I closed this position, or I opened this position when something happens. Of course,
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah.
I don't have that many trades a year. I
Yeah,
have
me neither. Me neither. I love
20 or something. But
how many trades you do a year? What is your average per week?
per week, I make one gold trade a
Yes.
week. That's trading on seasonality, and that's most of the time. That's it. actually. I mean, I make my bond trading, but the signal is once a week. So I make that on Mondays, but maybe it stays the same for a few weeks. So this year I only had one week where the signal changed. So I only have one trade this year in the bonds trading. And the S&P, of course, it didn't move through the 200-day moving average, so no trades this year at all. I make crypto trades, which I only do once a month. So I will buy them at the start of the month, and then I will, at the end of the month, I will decide if I want to keep the position or not based on signals. So that's maybe once a month, but I don't know. Not many trades, apart from the gold trading, which is once a week. I don't know, maybe one trade every 3 weeks.
So are you sharing your trades?
Yeah, I do.
So everything is transparent. They can go through your profile and they can scroll down and they can see what you do on a weekly basis. Even though you don't describe it each one, they can scroll down and they can see, okay, Max bought this 2 days ago and he sold that 2 weeks ago, for example.
It's probably kind of hard because I post a lot these days, because I found many people like to stay informed,
Yes.
but they don't actually have the time to read articles. So
Yeah.
what I recently done a lot is basically I will read an article or I will watch the press conference,
Yeah.
and then I will write a summary.
Opinion.
So they would probably have to scroll a bit, but yeah, basically they can find everything.
Yeah, yeah, I do the same with especially when I'm buying something, because I try to put myself in their position. So imagine now you are copying me, okay? You sit in Germany, you have your own problems, okay? But you are investing in me. And then you go on one day and the war is happening and you see Dimitri buying oil. And you're thinking, what is this guy doing? Okay,
Yeah.
that's when I'm writing something. I say, you know what? The reasoning behind my latest increase or decrease or whatever the case may be is because of that. So I want to give them an insight what I'm doing actually, because you have to think it from their perspective. You know, maybe you're not logging in every day. Maybe you're logging every week, and then you see, okay, this guy bought that and sold that, and you're trying to make sense of the whole situation. You know what? Just forget it. I'm just gonna I'm just gonna exit my copy and go copy someone else. That's the only
Yeah.
reason. That's the only reason I post regarding the positions. Regarding other subjects, if I watch a press conference or there's something in the news or have an article that I would like to share, I do that. But I wouldn't say I'm posting multiple times a day. I post maybe once a day, sometimes every other day. I found it. I don't want to do too much spamming. You know, the copy me. I don't want to do that because I have done it in the past. I'm not going to say I haven't, but I haven't done it in a level that, you know, like every 2 hours, 7 days, 365. I want to provide value to my copiers in the same way you do. Sometimes I see you write some really well thought out posts, like long ones. It took you some
Thank
time
you.
to put them together.
Mm.
That's what I enjoy seeing from other people, especially other popular investors.
Yeah, I mean, I post multiple times a day, but I think it's important to differentiate between posts where you just say, "Oh, copy me, that's my performance. Now is your time," or where you provide value by summarizing an article for the gas market or for a stock or the earnings. I don't know, I think that provides value. So
Yes,
yeah, I spammed in the past too, by the way.
everyone
I
has.
think everyone does.
Everyone does, yeah. And if you sit there and tell me that anyone tells me that they didn't, they're just lying, because I have done it too. But you know, some days are easier to post than others. You know, some days a lot of things are happening. Is the CPI, is the PPI, is earnings, maybe a conflict here and there. So there's something to provide value with. There's an opinion we might have, but there's some days nothing is going on. The market is going sideways. and you want to just be relevant, you know, you want people to remain excited about you, and then you have to post something, and then those are the days that you can justify maybe an occasional copy me, now is a good time and all that.
Yeah, but I think on those days that you described, you see it in the views. I
Yeah.
mean, I see it in my profile views. On Mondays, there's most of the time not that much happening.
Mm-hmm.
At least that's what I feel like. There's not much data coming out. There's just stock market isn't moving much. And I see in those days I can post just as much as in the others, and I make half the views maybe on
Yes.
Mondays. It's just, yeah, you see it on those days that
But
nothing is going on.
when you write a really good article or an opinion about something and it's really well thought out and it was put down like correctly, then you can see the impact of and sometimes it's tricky because it has to be good, but it has to be too long. It has to be short enough. You know what I mean? Like 3, 4
Yeah, it's
paragraphs.
hard.
It's hard to get it right.
Yeah, and it's hard not to go too much into detail
Yes.
because I mean, for example, I work with sometimes I work with mathematical models,
Yes.
and I think when I would just write 2 sentences about it, most of the viewers would just go to the next post and don't really read it
Yeah.
anymore because it's too
Yeah.
complicated.
I've been there sometimes when you're trying to be too technical, not trying to be. The only way you can explain is it's just being technical. There's no other way
Yeah,
to put in words without being technical. I understand what you're saying. And some people they're just not interested or they don't know what they're reading. So they're just gonna skip it and go to the next one. But
exactly.
when it's simple and you can explain to a 10-year-old about why JP Morgan is down today or why JP
Mm,
Morgan is up, and you wrote an article about JP Morgan very recently, and it was really, really good. Uh, when you write something about the top 20 companies, so the top 20 companies in the S&P are basically, if you write an article about them, you're gonna get some reaction. But if you write for a smaller company, nobody gives a shit. Is that how it goes, right?
mm,
Yeah,
yeah, that's how it goes, definitely.
yeah,
I mean, for example, the stock that I talked about earlier, GCT, the stock that moved up 130% and went down all the way. Um, I sometimes mention it, and I think like of the last 20 posts you see there in the last 3 months, like 18 of them is me with almost no comments,
yeah.
and yeah,
You know
it's
what?
just
I believe you can get a lot of copiers and followers if you just posting every day about the Magnificent Seven. You don't have to go
no,
beyond the Magnificent Seven. Just post on those seven. Something is going on each day in one of those companies, okay? So just with this, and people will be interesting.
yeah,
What is the
or
problem?
crypto if you're in that
Oh,
sector.
crypto, yeah. Oh, crypto. Oh, they love crypto.
Yeah, they do.
They love those posts. It's not start going up or down today. And they get
Yeah.
like 80 likes.
Yeah, it's kind of crazy. I feel like of every investor that's on eToro, like 60% are just there for crypto.
Yes, yes. And sometimes it's discouraging because you taking your time, and this has to do with, it's not just on eToro, this is on everywhere, even if you write like a good article on a newspaper, and but you're not cutting to the chase, you're not saying that gonna happen or this gonna happen, you're just providing the information and possible scenarios. Nobody gives a
Yeah.
shit. Nobody gives a shit.
Yeah, and that's kind of my problem because I mean, I do rule-based trading.
Mm-hmm.
So the benefit of my portfolio is basically that I don't have to react to
Yeah.
such things. And then, of course, I don't want to write posts where I say, this will happen, that will happen, because I mean, you probably know Nassim Taleb, who said you have to have skin in the game.
Oh, yes.
So when you say something, you have to have money on the line.
Yes.
And because of my portfolio structure, I don't have money on the line. And so I kind of feel bad to give statements what will happen if I
Yes.
don't bet on it.
Yes. Yes, I agree with you. And that's another issue actually with investors not having skin in the game. And they making proclamations that that will happen or this will happen, or they're taking a huge short position on a company because they have an idea or a theory, and the next person that doesn't is not into it as much as we are, because you and I, we can sit and we can talk about the news and about markets and about this thing like for hours and hours and hours. You just mentioned a really brilliant investor, and I understand and I know him. But if you reference Talib in some guy that is not into like us, you say, who?
Mm.
You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So
definitely. I mean, if you say Black Swan, you might
yeah,
just get him to
yeah,
look into him, but
yeah, yeah. So investing might be. Do you think investing is hard or do you think it's easy, or anything in between?
I would say the more you know, the easier it actually is because you are more certain that everything will turn out fine.
Yes.
Um, and of course, it depends on how your portfolio is set up. Because if you live on your portfolio, you will be far more stressed than if you just have it for retirement and
Yes.
for the next 20 years.
Mm-hmm.
So, yeah, I think as long as you have a plan, you can you're gonna be fine. I mean, I'm not really fearful of the market that it will go down now or something, because I know I have a plan. I know my portfolio will do fine, and
I mean, you are young and you live in Germany, so
yeah,
yeah,
that's true.
so that's a plus. Imagine being 50 years old and living in some third world country. Uh,
Yeah, but then you probably shouldn't invest everything in the stock market,
yes.
but have some bonds or stuff like that just to
Mhm.
have secure income.
Yeah,
So that's probably a thing too.
yeah, absolutely. So what is your asset allocation? How much do you have in stocks and how much you have in bonds? Just
In a bank.
just
Oh,
around
I don't. Have almost everything in stocks basically.
everything in stocks?
Yeah, I mean I have a bit of cash just in case I need some on
Mm-hmm.
the bank, but it's not much. It's like 1,000 euros or something.
Mm-hmm.
That's all that I have in cash, and the rest is all invested
All
because
invested.
I know at the moment I won't need it, and so it's just for my later life when I'm 10, 20 years older, then
Yeah,
I might use it. But
yeah, I'm the same way. Most of my 90% of my liquid net worth is invested. I have some cash in a savings account just in case, in case of an emergency or
mm,
a really tough year in the markets, another
mm,
50-20% down, that I'm gonna need to inject some new capital into the market without selling my existing positions. So I have them
mm,
flat, and I try to add money once a month, at least
mm.
3% of my equity to add every month, so I can keep increasing my portfolio as I go. But yeah, we are pretty much invested all the way.
Yeah,
Yeah, and
yeah.
then
I mean,
I
it's the
mean
best thing to do if you're in for the long term, of course.
last year, no, last year, the year before, when Russia invaded Ukraine. I mean, you're not that far from the, what is it, like 2-3 hours with the car, 4 hours? It's just
Uh,
border between you.
Ukraine, no, Ukraine is a bit further. I think it's like 15 hours. But it's because I'm in West Germany.
Oh,
So
okay.
I'm at the border
Okay.
to France and Luxembourg. So I
Yeah.
would have to drive completely through Germany and then to
No, I was
Ukraine.
saying, how far is the conflict from the eastern border of Germany? It's not that far.
Not that far, no. But
So,
I think it's still 1,000 kilometers, maybe.
yeah,
So I
1,000
think it's still a
is
bit.
So when the whole invasion happened, did anything cross your mind saying, you know what? Maybe I shouldn't be invested 100%. Maybe just keep a little bit of cash just in case, you never know with these things.
Actually, no, because I was market neutral. I
Yes.
basically I didn't have to be afraid of the market because I mean I lost 2 or 3%, something like that in a crash.
No, no, no.
So
I'm not talking about the market crash. I'm talking about Russia coming closer to German borders, and then you're gonna have to rethink how to do the whole thing. I mean, in the beginning, it looks scary.
yeah, definitely.
It looks
I
very
mean
scary.
my girlfriend is from Moldova,
Yes.
which is directly next to Ukraine,
Mm-hmm.
and she has relatives in Russia and in Ukraine.
Oh, that's complicated.
So of course that was much closer for me. But yeah, I mean I didn't have really have to be afraid in Germany because we have the NATO.
Yeah.
France has nuclear weapons,
Yeah.
so yeah, it's not. Yeah, it was more about her relatives in Moldova, really, because it's directly under Ukraine.
Yeah.
So if Russia would advance some more, they might go to Moldova next.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
that
You
was
never
more of
know.
the concern at the moment.
Yeah. You never know what's happening with these conflicts, and they keep happening around. Yeah, but I mean, if you see in history, if you see, I think I'm sure you can Google it. If you Google the most conflict-heavy located areas in the world,
Mm-hmm.
one is Europe,
Mm, yeah, definitely.
that's been fought between the countries for thousands of years. Another one is Southeast Asia, and another one is the Middle East.
Yeah,
So basically, the conflicts are happening again and again and again, the same spots.
yeah.
Basically, if you
No.
if you if you think about it, and then you're trying to make sense with the whole thing, how to adjust your portfolio. And sometimes we look like fools, not like fools. We look like people that don't care that major developments are happening and people are dying, and we're talking about,
Mm,
are you going long or are you going short,
no.
right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I wrote a post about Iran attacking Israel,
Mm-hmm.
and I tried to be as neutral as possible. I said that I hope that as less innocent people die as possible. But still, there were people in the comments who were like, Israel are terrorists. The other were saying Iran are terrorists,
Yeah,
and
and you don't want to
yeah,
get into of that.
you
Yeah,
can't get it right.
yeah, yeah.
Even if you tried to mention it, doesn't work, I think.
Yeah, I wouldn't even try. I'm just gonna delete the whole comment, delete the whole post, and just move on, because sometimes, and I try to avoid politics.
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to talk about policy. I'm going to talk about the policy of the Biden administration, of the Trump administration, for energy or whatever the case may be. But I try to avoid politics.
Yeah, me too. I think it's
Politics,
really controversial at the moment.
yes, and people are getting emotional with it. And when the other party gets emotional, then you're not getting anywhere. So I try to avoid politics, and it's one of the reasons I try to avoid defense stocks. Are you invested in defense stocks?
I've got a next to eToro, I've got another portfolio
Mm-hmm.
where I started buying stocks for the first time,
Mm-hmm.
and I still got Lockheed Martin and Smith and Wesson.
Yes.
um, yeah, I didn't want to sell them because of taxes, so that's why I have two portfolios basically,
Mm-hmm.
and I will hold that for the long term.
For
But
the
yeah,
long term, yeah.
I've got defense stocks. I once had British American Tobacco, so I really have all the controversial stuff.
Or the controversials, yeah. Uh, the reason I avoid them is because I don't have them anywhere else. I only have this portfolio, and other portfolios I have are just crypto. So I try to avoid them because for the reason we both know, someone's gonna comment that, okay, are you praying to the deaths of people in the Middle East so you can make 2% dividend yield, which is ridiculous. Which is ridiculous, but I understand where they're coming from. They are very controversial. But the other reason I don't like them is not the major reason is the following. They are private companies and they make the best weapons in the world. They make the best planes and the best tanks and the best whatever, but they can't sell them directly to consumer or to countries. So if Germany wants to buy 50 F-35s, they don't just go to the Lockheed Martin and they buy 50. They have to ask the US Congress, and they have to approve it. So basically, the president is approving who is getting them and who is not. And that's fine, I understand. They don't want to give them to the wrong people. I get that. But it's no longer a free market. You know what I mean?
Yeah. I mean, even you probably know SpaceX, of course.
Yes.
They can't employ people from other countries than America.
Yes.
Because they are classified as a weapons companies,
Yes.
because they make rockets.
Yes.
So that's no open market even for employment anymore.
There is no open market with this, and sometimes I don't get it why they don't make planes for civilian use. I mean, would you imagine selling an F-16? Just make it for civilians. Just make an F-16 with no weapons. It's just going to be a fast plane that the rich guy, okay, can spend 20 million, buy an F-16 and fly from Los Angeles to New York in 2 hours. You are laughing, but they're going to be selling them like crazy if they did that.
Yeah, they would. That's why I'm laughing. I think just the thought of that, of millionaires riding jets.
I mean, you can buy a Bugatti Chiron for 5 million. I mean, if they take you 15 million, you buy an F-16 and you can fly from Los Angeles to New York in an hour and a half. And if you have the money, I'm buying 2 of them actually.
Yeah, I would do that too.
Yeah,
definitely.
So those big ticket items, they don't have them. They're only selling them to governments and to the US Army. So they're basically depending on the government to purchase their weapons, and foreign governments or your allies, the G7 countries, Europe, or the NATO countries, they're buying them. So my point is their upside is somehow limited.
That's true.
Apple, for example, they can sell 2 billion phones. If people want them, they can buy them. You can go and buy 3 of them if you want. So it's basically supply and demand. More people want it, we're gonna make more. But with that, the upside is somehow limited. Only Boeing sells to private individuals, private jets. But Boeing has its own problems with.
Yeah, at the moment, especially.
At the moment, yeah. So Boeing is a different conversation. But that's the major reason I don't particularly like the defense contractors. But if you're going to hold them for the long term, you know that in 50 years they're still going to be making the best weapons, and they're going to be paying 2 or 3% dividend. So if you're just buying to hold it,
that's why I do it, basically.
Yeah.
It's just a long-term investment. It's stable.
Yes.
That's what I particularly like about it, because you will always need weapons.
Yes.
Even though there are many people who say we should just stop producing weapons. I don't believe in the concept that will really help us. But I think they will stay there forever.
So. Yeah, if you want to be pragmatic, and you have to be pragmatic if you are an investor about the realities of the world, there's not going to be a world when everyone don't have a weapon or a defense budget or a defense. And by the way, the US defense tax, they get a bad rep. But in reality, all major countries have defense contractors. I believe Germany has a really good defense.
Rheinmetall,
They sell them to other people. They don't buy them for themselves. But I know they make those tanks and those submarines. It's not like they don't make them. Each country has them, but the American defense contract sector gets a bad rep from the press.
Yeah, that's true.
Mm-hmm.
Although in Germany, Rheinmetall, the big weapons manufacturer, was vastly criticized.
Why?
Because there are a lot of people who are against manufacturing weapons and stuff like that. And the stock, I think it went up like 200% or something since the Ukraine war. So yeah, basically, I mean, Germany didn't spend anything on their army. I think there was a report if Germany would be in a war, it would take 2 days until Germany would be out of ammunition. So they didn't spend anything, and of course the stock skyrocketed when they started spending now.
You know what? I read that, but not just only for Germany, but for most allies of the Ukraine, because they gave them all the ammunition that they needed during the beginning of the war. And most countries, their ammunition stocks went down during the first year or two, but now they're resupplying themselves.
No, it was before the war even.
Oh, before the war.
Yeah, Germany in terms of army is so unprepared. You won't believe it. It is only bad news about the German army.
I read yesterday, I believe, on Bloomberg that I'm sure you read it too, or maybe what the Wall Street Journal, that they're preparing to buy more defensive Patriots from the Americans. You read that?
No, I didn't actually.
They want to buy the air defense, ground to air defense.
Mm-hmm.
So they want to buy more of that. I don't know what happened now, why the timing is now is correct to do that, and they haven't done it like, like 2 years ago when the war in Ukraine. You want to prepare then, but yeah, when time comes and you need, when you are a country in the top 3 or 4 in the GDP, then you have the money to buy whatever you want to buy,
Yeah.
and quickly.
Yeah, I mean Germany doesn't have that much debt compared to other countries. I mean I think it's 66% of GDP.
And if they want to raise money tomorrow, the German bonds, they are always really, really stable. Like if
I mean they have a better rating than the US ones.
yes.
So
Yes, if you want to hold bonds and you want to lose money, buy the German ones.
yeah, the problem is more the government, because there's a debt brake, that's what it's called. And I think it prohibits having more than 70% of GDP as debt. And 2 of the 3 reigning parties want to stop this and want to get more debt. But one of the ruling parties is against it.
They want to increase the limit?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I'm saying in a time of emergency, that the German people, they're going to look at each other and going to say, you know what, we might be in trouble because something is happening. They can raise a lot of money just like that.
Yeah, they can, definitely.
When you are a wealthy nation, and then you can justify anything you want.
Yeah, I mean Germany has one of the lowest interest rates. Oh no, not anymore, but they had 2 years ago.
Yes.
Yeah, there was no problem at all. I mean, they could have just got enough debt to finance everything, basically.
Yeah, but it wasn't needed at the time. And in the back of your head, what, 50,000 Americans are based in Germany?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Before Trump, there were so many. I
were-
think Trump closed many bases.
Yeah?
Yeah, I think so. Because he said Germany shall pay for their own defenses, and
he moved soldiers from Germany?
Yeah, he did.
Okay. I didn't know that. I knew he was saying about Germany should spend more, but I didn't know that he moved soldiers. Yeah, 50,000 soldiers in Germany, US soldiers in Germany. Yeah, I mean, that's basically nobody's coming.
Yeah.
Nobody's
Yeah, and I mean you have France, and Germany and France have a very good relationship. They're both in the NATO, and France has nuclear weapons. So and of course America is in the NATO, and they have nuclear weapons. So yeah, there was no concern before, because actually nobody thought of a war breaking out in Europe again.
Yeah.
So,
Yeah, nobody expect. Yeah, it was unexpected. and probably it's going to take a while before they sort it out and figure out what to do. I think if Trump gets reelected, he's going to settle the whole thing quickly. He's going to he's going to force the two sides to come together and figure out a solution because he doesn't like the whole thing sending money to Ukraine.
Yeah, I don't know. I don't like Trump. I don't like Biden either. But I don't know. I know that Trump wants the Ukraine war to stop, and I know he doesn't want to finance them. But I mean, if I were Russia, and I knew, okay, Trump doesn't want to send any more money to Ukraine, I would make no peace negotiations because I knew, okay, 1 year more, Trump will stop sending the money, and then we can win the whole country.
Yes, but Trump is a little bit unpredictable.
That's true.
And you don't know if you get close because behind Ukraine is Poland, right? And Poland is it's a NATO member.
Yeah, Poland is NATO.
Once you even get close to a NATO member, then the whole hell breaks loose, and then you have World War III for real.
Yeah, but I don't think Putin will do that. I think he will probably just take 80% and then make a cut, so that's exactly that will not happen.
Yeah.
If he should, of course, win the war.
I think the way he's trying to play is just get half of it, then negotiate, give some of it back, but keep the areas close to the border that speak Russian, the Russian speaking Ukrainians.
No.
That's a move.
Yeah, I think so too.
That's a move that was done in history before. People tried to get the people that speak their native language that live around the border. So that's a major motivation, in my opinion. But again, I'm not an expert on geopolitics or especially European geopolitics. But the whole conflict is going to take a while.
Yeah, I think Putin will also force Ukraine not to ever join NATO.
Yes.
I think that will be one point as well, because I mean that was what he used as when he started the attack.
Yes.
That he didn't want NATO to come closer to Russia.
Yeah, basically, if Ukraine joined NATO, basically you are borders with NATO.
Yeah.
So, and you can understand his motivation of now wanting to be in that position.
Yeah, especially because Russia was told like 20 years ago or something from the Americans and NATO that they won't do that.
Yes.
But they didn't ever write it down.
I'm sure
I get that they don't want NATO to come closer to the border. But I mean, of course, an attack is unjustifiable.
Yes, of course.
But yeah, I at least get this point, and I think it will be a major point of negotiation too.
Yes. Yeah, it's unfortunate, and it wasn't justified to invade. But I understand from their position that that's what it was agreed. I mean, they said it was agreed. I mean, I wasn't in the room when they agreed to it.
Yeah.
So, but and then the administrations are changing, presidents are changing, politics go from the middle, and then they go a little bit to the left, a little bit to the right with each president, and then they come close to the middle again. So I'm sure that has something to do with it, but let's see what happens. Hopefully they can figure this out. They can figure this out peacefully, and they can figure the other thing out with Iran and Israel.
Now, although I think Iran Israel is probably harder to make peace between.
Yeah, that's what I think too.
I mean, I think Iran is probably the only nation in the Middle East that's as much hated as Israel.
Yes.
So, yeah, I mean, nobody around Iran really likes them or really wants to help them. but of course they have good relations to Russia.
Yeah.
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 Maybe both will be settled at the same time.
That might be a possibility. That might be a possibility. But the Ukraine-Russia are basically a border dispute.
No.
The Iran-Israel is basically a religion dispute. Correct?
Yeah, but I mean the UAE or Saudi Arabia, they're not they're not friends with Israel or something, but they can accept them at least, and
Yeah,
they
but
have to.
yes, but they're not enemies. They're not
Yeah,
friendly with each other, but they can coexist.
exactly.
Yes, they
And
can coexist in
why
the
shouldn't Iran, if Saudi Arabia can coexist with Israel, why shouldn't Iran be
yes,
able to?
yes, I agree with you. I agree with you
I mean,
100.
they don't have to say it's great what's going on in Israel, but I mean, let them live and live by yourself, and yeah.
I was reading yesterday, I believe on Bloomberg again, because that's where I get my news about markets, that something was offered to Israel in exchange for a recognition from Saudi Arabia.
Okay.
I don't remember exactly the details, but so things are moving. So things are moving to a direction that all the nations within the Middle East, with all the differences they have and they had in the past,
Mm,
they can come all together and at least coexist with each other.
no, yeah, that's what you need.
That's what
But
you need, yeah. You know what? When countries they get wealthy, when they get
mhm,
rich, okay, then you can figure out our differences.
no,
I mean, you saw AUE, we went there, they're rich. They're living very
yeah,
comfortably. They're living
they're
comfortably.
very rich.
Yeah, so if you're living in Dubai or Abu Dhabi, are you in are you in a hurry to go invade a neighbor country? No. Let them
No, of course not.
yeah. That's how Europe got peaceful in the last 70 years. The war stopped, we all got rich together, and then okay,
Yeah, and was important. I mean, America helped Germany. I
yeah.
think that's one important point because after World War One, basically Germany had to pay lots of money to France,
Hmm.
and Germany was really poor during those times. And this, of course, increased the political chances of radicalists such
Yeah,
as the Nazis.
yeah, that was the beginning of that was basically the beginning of the next war. They didn't know it was going to be war,
No,
another world war, but the all the debt that Germany couldn't pay at the in the beginning of the 20th century was it didn't help at all.
yeah, exactly.
It didn't help at all. When are you going to China?
I'm going end of August, start of September.
Okay, so when you're in China, we're gonna do one more for sure.
Sure.
I
I
want you.
mean, that's gonna be fun. I can tell you all about the Chinese economy by then.
Yes,
Hopefully.
I want someone with a real insight to tell me what is going on in China. Because you know what? Sometimes I read it on the news. I'm like, is that thing true? Are they growing 5% a quarter, 6% a quarter?
Mm.
And then and then you're wondering, and that's why I stay away from emerging markets.
Yeah, I don't have anything in China anyway,
I don't have
too.
anything in China, and because I don't know the companies, first of all, I don't speak the language, I don't know their
Mm.
way of doing things. So I've never been to China. So I don't have any strong convictions for me to jump into even into Alibaba that everyone jumped in some
Mm.
or another. It's the next Amazon and it's going up 10x and all that. Even that, I was always very skeptical of Chinese companies, and not just China because it's China, also Korea and Japan.
Mm.
I don't know. I don't know the countries. I don't know I don't speak the language. I don't know the way they do things, but I understand the American way of doing things.
Yeah,
I understand.
sure. And the European one.
Yeah, and in the European one, more. We are basically the same.
Yeah.
So I understand that. I'm comfortable being invested with 90% of my net worth, of my liquid net worth being invested in stocks. and be happy. But I don't want developments happening and I'm sleeping and I'm waking up in the morning and I see 10 notifications on Bloomberg that something went wrong.
Yeah,
Everybody
that's
got,
gonna happen to me, you know. I mean, when I'm there, the stock market will open at 11:30 p.m. and it will close at like 6 a.m. So I
yes,
will be sleeping the whole night.
you're gonna be sleeping and you're gonna be the last one to find out.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes, that's what is one of the reasons that I'm trying to avoid, and that's another reason that I'm trying to avoid getting into too much crypto because
Mm,
they trade 24/7, 365,
no.
and Bitcoin is down 10% today because one guy somewhere sold something, right?
Yeah, yeah. I mean, I will have to sell cryptos anyway before I go to China because it's illegal to own cryptos there.
No, I mean, if you, okay, you are not a Chinese national, so you can, like, let's say you own them in your portfolio,
Mm.
okay? But you're not trading them or checking them while you're in China. Is that illegal?
I think just ownership is illegal.
Hmm.
So I think it's illegal. I'm not 100% sure, but I currently have 0.2% of my portfolio in crypto. So it will not change the performance that much if I
Yes.
have no crypto for like 5 months or something.
So what's the point of having the 0.2? Yeah.
Uh, Basically, I thought, okay, what is the maximum I'm comfortable with losing in crypto? And I thought, well, what about 2%? Because if crypto skyrockets and was up 300%, I make 6%, which is
Yeah.
very nice in
Yeah.
performance. And if it goes to zero, I mean, 2% less performance, it's okay, you know?
You know what?
And
That's the way I go about it too, but not just for crypto. Like for my riskier positions, like I have Rivian. You know Rivian, the
yeah,
electric
I know.
vehicle.
I
So
had it once too.
and you sold it
Yeah, I sold it at like plus 50%.
50%. It was up. It was up in the beginning of the year, and then no, it was up in Q4 of 2023, and then the beginning of the year, and then the whole thing went down. So I have an exposure of 1.5% of my portfolio.
Mm,
So basically, even if it goes to zero, which you won't, it's not going to hurt me.
yeah,
So,
exactly.
so that's how I take risks sometimes. I mean, if my portfolio was down 20% year to date, maybe I wouldn't add that position because I don't want to get into more into a hole when
Mm,
I'm already down. But I was up last year and I'm up this year, so that's basically how it's a simple way. You don't
yeah,
need, you don't need to get too complicated about risk management.
exactly. I mean, most of the time it doesn't even really work, risk management,
Yeah,
because you don't have enough data or a black swan or something
yeah,
like that. That's why every trade I make, I think about would I be comfortable losing everything of it? And if I am, then that's the right amount
yeah.
for me.
Yeah, that's how we spread the portfolio. There are some positions, if you buy them without leverage,
Mm,
they're not going to zero.
yeah.
Let's say for example, let's say you are a passive investor and you buy the S&P, you buy the SPY, no leverage.
Mm,
Is SPY going to zero? No.
no.
It might go down 50%,
It might even go 80% when we
80%,
have a Great
but
Depression 2.0
yes,
or something like
but
that.
it's not going, but it's not going to zero.
Exactly. Yeah.
So sometimes you have to put them, but if you're holding like a really speculative stock that the company doesn't make any money, hasn't made any money in years, then there's a possibility that it might go to zero, even though they get delisted way before they go to zero.
No,
So it's
but
not
you
going to
can
zero. Yeah.
use,
So
yeah.
they're gonna get delisted when it's like $2 or whatever. So it's not going to zero. So, but yeah, sometimes trying to do risk management in the most complicated way possible, it never works.
No, it
It
doesn't.
never works. Sometimes you
It
have to
definitely.
go, and you know what? You know what else I found? And you're not gonna agree with it because you're using leverage and all that, and you go short. But I was trying. Someone asked me why I'm not using leverage or short selling or going long short or that, and I'm like, would you buy? Would you borrow a house and then sell it and wait for it to go down and buy it again and return it to the guy? No, you wouldn't. I understand the circumstances are different. Real estate is
Mm,
not liquid, and stock market you can do that you can do just like that.
mm,
And you try to remain, for my style, of course. You have a different style, you have a different way of doing things. For my style, try to justify to someone, I wouldn't do that. Or if you have a lot of money and you want to invest in someone, would you put all your money in just one company? I'm not talking about stock market. I'm talking about you go and you knocking doors and you say, you know what, I want to invest $50,000 in your sandwich store.
mm.
It wouldn't be wise to have some in the sandwich store and have some into the guy who's selling sodas across the street and the guy who's selling the packaging of the soda and the sandwich in a town different. So, you
Yeah,
know,
exactly.
then you're trying to do the allocation in your head and try to explain it like the most simple way you can.
Mm,
I know it sounds very simplistic and it's more complicated than that actually, but sometimes you have to be able to explain it to someone. Like let's say I'm meeting you for the first time and I'm telling you I play football for a living. What do you do, man?
hmm.
And you said to me, I'm an investor. Oh, what do you mean you're an investor? Then you have to explain.
Yeah.
How do you even explain it?
Yeah, exactly. I mean, how do you explain to someone who doesn't know anything
Who
about
doesn't
investing?
know anything?
Yeah,
It,
I
it's
mean,
it's
it's
complicated, right?
yeah, definitely. I mean, I would try to simplify it
Yeah, but you
by
gotta.
saying that I try to use statistical tools to pick good investment decisions. I think that's probably
The best way to go.
the best way to go because it at least gives him, yeah, he at least has a clue what
Yes.
I'm doing.
Can
But
you can you speak about investing and about your strategy better in English or in German?
I don't know, probably in English actually,
Me too.
because yeah, I watch so many videos. I
Yes, me too.
actually thought I read a lot in English, but I checked. I met Akim the other day,
Yeah.
and we
Tell
switched
me.
some
Tell me
books.
that you guys met.
Yeah, and I went through all my books right there, and I found out I really have many German books actually, even though I didn't think it. But no, but I watch every video in English,
In
and
English, yeah.
yeah, for me it's really sometimes when I think about my portfolio, I think in English.
Me too. And if you ask me to explain what I do in Greek, I'm not gonna be able to. I'm gonna say, wait, what is dividend in Greek? What is that called in Greek? And then I'm gonna be like, let me Google it, let me see the translation. So I can only explain it in English actually.
No, I mean I could explain it in German because well, I study economics and finance, so I get the
Oh,
German
okay.
words
Yes,
all the
yes.
time when I have to learn. But yeah, I mean sometimes you have to use English words. For example, there is no real translation for credit default swaps or
Really?
something like that for different instruments, futures, for example, options. Futures is futures in German. It's just there is no word for futures,
Okay,
for example.
so it's basically English, yes.
Yeah. So even if you would explain in German, you would use a lot of English words.
Do you use the translation on your eToro post?
No.
Do you have the option for translation?
Uh, what do you mean
Oh,
exactly?
sorry. You're writing in English. If you're
Yeah,
writing
I'm writing in English.
yeah, sorry. I thought for a moment I thought you were writing in German and you were translating.
No, I write in English,
Writing in English,
and
yes, yes, yes.
yeah, if I'm
Understand.
not sure, I mean, I will copy paste the text into ChatGPT and ask it to correct my mistakes. But
Yeah, that's too much
that's
work.
about it.
That's too much work. Yeah, you know what? I don't use too much ChatGPT to write my post. The only thing I do is on LinkedIn, I write the post, and then there is a setting that AI can improve it for you.
Mm-hmm.
I only do that, but I don't use ChatGPT to write the post because sometimes if you read them, you know that I wrote them myself. It's not
Mm,
crazy uh, complicated. But on LinkedIn, I write the post and then I take the option. If I see it's better than mine, or it makes more sense, or
mm,
just remove some things that you shouldn't be mentioning them, then I take the option. But other than that, I don't use ChatGPT for my post. I try to keep it myself so they know
mm.
it's me.
Yeah, I try to do that too. So many of my posts I write myself.
Mm-hmm.
But sometimes if I don't have that much time, for example,
Mm-hmm.
so maybe picture the situation, we have a Fed press conference
Mm-hmm.
and I watch it, and I don't have any time to write a post
Mm-hmm.
because there's something coming up or something like that. I will just write the points, for example, and ask ChatGPT to write a text out of it.
Text out of it.
Yeah, because I simply don't have the time
Yeah, because
to write.
usually I like with the press conference, with the Q&A and everything is 2 hours basically.
Yeah, I
It's
mean, you can write notes, but to write a whole text out of it, it takes a lot of time.
every time that I watch the press conferences, I have to be home prior. So I have to get everything ready, my notebook and everything. And then I'm taking notes as I pause it, I take a note, and then I resume. And then you watch it, and then sometimes I have to go back and watch some parts again because I want to
Mm,
make sure what I heard is correct because I'm going to write an opinion. It's not just, I'm writing basically saying, okay, guys, I don't think he's cutting this year.
mm,
And people take it very seriously when I'm saying, I don't think he's cutting. I'm not saying a stock is going to go up. That's different. Just giving my opinion regarding rates. And then from there, you can make your own decisions. So I want to watch some parts twice sometimes. And then it takes another half an hour to put it all together and type it and read it again. And
yeah,
so so on those days, you have 2, 3 good hours of work just watching press conferences.
yeah. And the saddest thing is that in our economy, everybody wants to have the news now. They don't want to, many people don't want to have it in 2 hours. They want to have it
Yeah.
5 minutes after.
Yeah.
And that's kind of hard, I think.
Yes.
For me, I mean, in such cases, it's kind of practical because I just write my notes into ChatGPT,
Mm-hmm.
and then at the end, I will just write a text out of it, and then I send it. And then I basically have all my notes in ChatGPT, and it writes a text for me
You know what
when
I've
I
done?
have no time, of course.
You know what I've done a couple of times and it worked, but um, while I'm watching and I see a highlight, I pause and I write a short post like Twitter, a couple of sentences.
Mm,
He said that, or he said we were going to do that, or he's not cutting, or whatever. And then do that 2, 3 times during the press conference and the Q&A, because in my opinion, the Q&A is the whole thing, is not the press conference. The
yeah, I mean, the press
Q&A,
conference is always scripted. You
yeah,
know that they will say nothing
the,
out of the
the back and
ordinary.
forth with the reporters, that is the whole point of the press conference. And then I write 2 or 3 posts while I'm watching. And then in the end, I said, okay, I'm gonna just put it all together in a later post
Mm,
tonight. So they're not waiting for me to write the post right away. I usually write it after the market has closed.
mm, yeah, that makes sense.
And you know what? You'll be surprised if you write about the Fed and you put a nice picture of Jerome Powell. And
Mm,
you'll be surprised how many responses you can get in
yeah,
comments.
I think my most viewed posts are actually those about the Fed. if you have a picture of Jerome Powell,
Yes.
it's just, or you have a website linked where a picture of Jerome Powell is on there. It's just, I think I had 30 comments
Yes.
during the last press conference or something like that.
Yes. And then two people, they're gonna start arguing with each other when you post. Go like to 30, 40, to 30, 40 comments.
Yeah. Yeah, it's funny. But I think that's the point of eToro, right? So people
Yes.
can discuss different topics concerning
Yes.
financial markets.
Yes. Or it can go the other way. You can watch the press conference, and if it's like during the summer or during the holiday season that not a lot of people are online, they just and the markets are going sideways. It doesn't have too much volatility for people to keep people interested. And then you write a post about fiscal policy or monetary policy or whatever the case may be. And it's like 3 or 4 paragraphs, long paragraphs. You took your time, you got a good picture, the title, the emojis, everything. And then you get one comment, Nasdaq up or down tomorrow.
Yeah, exactly. I know that. Yeah. I mean, at least you got a comment. I mean, I've wrote posts and I didn't even get one comment. But
Yeah, that
yeah,
happens. Yeah, that happens a lot. That happens a
yeah,
lot.
I still think I kind of have the feeling that eToro is sometimes a bit like Twitter. So where people like those or X, where people like those shorter messages and
Yes.
bullet points.
Yeah,
I
but you,
recently tried to make bullet points, and I think many people really liked it because they didn't read the whole text. They just read 3 bullet points and they knew what was happening, and then they could
it
fight
depends.
in the comments about if it's true or not.
It depends on the subject, though.
Yeah,
In
but
some fact,
I in more volatile assets, I think,
yeah,
like natural gas or cryptos.
yes, yes.
I think those people.
You don't need to write too much about crypto. If you just, I mean, there are people that are just posting Bitcoin without any text, just the dollar, Bitcoin. You
Yeah.
type it, and it can get like 10 likes on the right day, without any text, without anything.
Yeah, you have to do a rocket that goes up next to it. Then you
Yeah,
get even more likes.
yeah, rugged or the chart, the blue up, down. You put a couple of that and you put a rugged, and you write an estimate like 100,000 by next week, and then and you know it's true, and you have people going crazy,
Yeah, it's kind of funny,
and
actually.
sometimes you watch this, and I don't know how you feel about it, but I'm thinking, okay, I'm competing now with these people.
Mm,
And then I'm
yeah,
thinking, okay, I don't mind. I don't mind competing with these idiots. Some of them are idiots. It's
yeah,
don't
yeah.
say it, I said it. Okay?
No, but it's true.
Yeah.
I mean, you I had this crypto position this year. I
Mhm.
held it for 1 month. I bought it at 63,500 and I
Mhm.
sold it slightly above 70,000.
Okay.
And I wrote a post that I've sold it, and I got comments telling me that I'm an idiot that I've
Yes.
sold it.
Yes.
And it's kind of funny. Even I still have some, but even if you take your gains, people will hate out of the crypto bubble
Yes.
on you just for selling anything.
Yeah. Some people are very sensitive about some assets, crypto mostly. In a good way. In a good way, I mean, they don't like when people talking shit about Bitcoin, Ethereum, or whatever. And they are very negative in other way. The defense tax and all that, the tobacco.
Mm,
The tobacco not so much. The tobacco not that people give a shit. But the defense tax are very sensitive for most people.
yeah.
And it's one of the reasons that I don't touch them is because I don't want to be responding to people telling me that are you praying for people dying so you can get more dividends? No, no, no,
Mm.
no, dude. I'm
I
not.
actually had, I never had such a comment, even though I held Lockheed Martin on eToro too for like a year. I didn't have any of those
I
companies.
never had any. I never had them either. But I read people or
Mm,
comments on other people talking about them.
mm.
So I'm like, you know what? I'm good. I don't. I don't. I don't need. And you know what? Sometimes people get it too complicated. How many assets do you have in your portfolio?
I have 40 stock positions,
Mhm.
20 longs, 20 shorts, and then I've got like five more maybe. Wait, I've got my S&P, my bonds, my bill position, so the short-term bonds, and then I've got four crypto positions with the money equally distributed between Bitcoin, Ethereum, Cardano, and Ripple.
So how many positions in total?
Like
Just no, just
slightly
give
less than 50.
how many?
Slightly less than 50,
Less
I
than
would say.
50. Okay. So, and in any scenario, most of the 50, they will be the same next year, right?
It depends. I mean, I use momentum and I use matrices to determine value, you know?
No, I mean, you're gonna keep the leverage S&P, you're gonna
Mhm.
trade your gold, you're gonna trade your bonds. So basically,
Yeah,
you have a core of positions that they're gonna be the same year in and year out, depending on the environment and your metrics if you're buying them or not, right?
yeah, exactly. Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be 200 positions, 10 in China, 10 in Brazil, 10 in Germany, 10 in South Africa, and the rest of them in America. And you're sitting in Germany or you're sitting in Cyprus and you're pretending that you have a satellite on your own and you're looking in 5 continents and you understand what is happening. Sometimes people
No,
make it more complicated than it should be.
yeah. I mean, I don't know if you know the video of Ray Dalio, where he
Yes.
talks about the holy grail of investing.
Mhm.
And I think he had this graph at the board, and he showed that if you have 15 uncorrelated assets in your
Yeah.
portfolio, and you almost don't decrease any more risk when you add some. So if
Yes.
you have the 15 uncorrelated assets, you basically can't really decrease your risk anymore with
Yes.
other uncorrelated assets. And so the thing is, I mean, stocks will always go down together when there's a crash.
Yes.
So you can't diversify this. And if you want to diversify the other risk, so the intrinsic risk of companies, with 15, you're fine.
Yes.
So those other 185, they almost don't decrease your risk at all.
Yeah. So
So it's just doesn't
because
make sense.
I I I think the limit is 200 for eToro. You can only hold 200 positions in
Really?
your portfolio.
I don't know.
I
I
believe.
never had problems with the limit,
Yeah,
so
me neither. Me neither. I only have 20. I only have 21 positions, but I believe the limit is 200. I think after the 40, 50, then you're just missing the point. Then you're getting too, and especially if
mm,
there are some people that they are like income investors, they want to
mm,
they want to provide a dividend payment every week.
mm,
You know what I'm talking about, right?
I know. I know them, yeah.
So those people, they're just buying them, they're just buying that company because it pays dividend in the second week of March.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter the valuation, it doesn't matter the timing, it doesn't matter the sector of the business cycle.
Mm,
The only thing that matters is going to pay me 3 cents in the second week of March. And then you
mm,
have to put together, and it's like 53 weeks in a year. And
mm,
you're gonna have to put a bunch of them together. And then you have to add different sectors and different countries, so you can get some dividends in euros and some dividends in Japanese yen. So you can be diversified with currencies as well. And then you end up doing nothing basically.
yeah. You could just buy an MSCI World or a dividend version. Yeah, I mean, if you get 3 cents a day or even $3 a day,
Yeah.
I mean, who cares if you get $3 each day or $90 a month?
Yeah.
I mean,
Yeah, exactly.
yeah, I mean, of course, I mean, it makes sense for them to do it. It might be attractive for investors who just like the style of that. But yeah.
And sometimes you want to say something, but you don't want to be the mean guy. You don't want to be the mean guy saying, "What are you guys doing?" You're just saying, "You know what?
Mhm.
Let them do whatever they want to do, and
Yeah.
you do your own thing, and that's the end of story."
Yeah. I mean, it's basically if you have so many stocks, it's basically like owning an MSCI World.
Yeah.
And if that's not exciting enough for certain investors, and they think, wow, this dividend portfolio, that's much more exciting, and you
Mm-hmm.
basically fool them into thinking it's much more exciting than
Mm-hmm.
MSCI World. I mean, on the long term, it's good for them still.
How many
They're,
holdings? How many holdings are there in the MSCI world?
I don't know, but it's more than in the S&P, I think.
Yeah, and it
I
has with different countries. Yeah,
Yeah, I think it depends on the very of the kind of MSCI World you buy.
a big portion of it now is from the US though,
Yeah, I think it's like 70% US.
20% US.
It
So basically it's the S&P.
Yeah,
Basically the
I mean
S&P.
there's no China in it anyway. Emerging markets.
No?
No, you have or maybe 1%.
Okay.
It's just developed
Developed country.
countries.
So
Yeah, so many
basically,
people who buy ETFs, they also buy an MSCI emerging markets, and some even buy an MSCI Europe too, because Europe is not that much presented in the
yes.
MSCI world either. And when you have those 2 or 3 ETFs, you basically have
Hmm.
the whole world economy.
Yeah.
But the name is kind of, yeah, it's not really what's in it.
Yes. Yes. On paper, if you put it on a map, you say, okay, I have holdings here, here, and there. But when you really look into it, it's like, okay, you basically bought the US and some of Europe.
Yeah,
Yeah,
basically.
basically. So instead, just do just do your own thing instead of I don't know. Do you like investors being completely invested in ETFs?
Uh, I
What's your
mean,
opinion?
if if you have no absolutely no clue of investing,
Yeah.
I mean the bet, and you don't want to spend much time on it,
Yes.
I think then ETFs are great because, for example, my father, he doesn't really have a clue of investing, so they buy funds, so and they pay like 2% a year to the fund manager.
Oh, 2% is
And
a lot.
sorry,
2% is a lot.
yeah, exactly. That's what I told him. And before you do something like that, and you get 6% a year, and you pay 2% of that to some fund manager, just buy ETFs, and I mean for the long term, it's fine. Why not?
Especially some of them are probably 0.3% per year,
Yeah,
the expense ratio, and some of them
yeah.
are
I think there are even lower ones.
even
I,
lower ones. Yeah.
yeah.
So if you're gonna buy them, but I don't know if they I don't know if so- I don't know if they offer for countries outside of the US like a complete ETF like the S&P 500 for outside of the US. Like if you're a European investor and you're not feeling comfortable investing in America because you don't know,
Mhm.
or for whatever reason, you want to be invested in Germany or France or Spain.
Mhm. No,
Is
you can do that.
You can do that? Is it?
I wouldn't recommend it, but you can do that.
That's what I'm saying. Yes.
Yeah,
So
I don't really like European stocks. I don't know. I think there are a few very good companies, but I mean, if you buy an ETF on Italy or Spain, you have extremely much bank exposure instantly.
yes,
And yeah, in Germany, you have extremely much car exposure. And yeah, I
yeah.
don't know. It's not as diversified as the US is.
Some of the companies they getting somehow behavior like the US, like Volkswagen, I believe, has
Mm,
exciting stock. Porsche, it went
mm,
public a couple of years
BMW.
ago. BMW. Mercedes just goes sideways, and he's been going sideways for
A long time.
years.
Yeah.
But there are some German companies that, and they pay a good dividend. They pay a 5, 6% dividend.
Yeah, I own BMW stocks. They pay like 7%.
7%
I think 7, 8 when I bought them. I don't know the exact figure at the moment, but
you know, a German person would only be trusted German cars,
no.
right? I mean, do you have to get into anything else? I mean, what Germany does well, they're building great cars, so just invest
Yeah.
in cars.
And they have SAP. I don't know if you know the company.
The what?
They SAP.
What is
It's a
that?
software company.
Oh, I'm not familiar with it.
No, it's quite big. It's actually the only German company apart from the car companies that's operating in the world market, and that they moved from the German stock exchange to Nasdaq a year ago.
Oh, okay. So is
Yeah,
that,
because Germany is not attractive enough.
yeah.
Yeah.
And I believe Adidas is traded in the US too, right?
I'm not quite sure actually.
Adidas is
I
G.
think it's traded in Frankfurt, definitely, but it might also be traded in the US.
Yeah. Yeah, like the LVMH is traded in
Mm-hmm.
Paris and then in New York as well. Yeah, the big
Mm-hmm.
companies they do that. They have dual listings.
No,
Interesting.
LVMH, by the way, a great company.
It is.
I like it. Yeah, I've got LVMH in my long term.
Cool.
Yeah.
You watched the first episode of the of when I was debating with Hakim about it.
Yeah, I saw it.
And I was calling the CEO the French guy, and he was like,
Mm,
"The French guy? I mean, I don't want to pronounce his name. I don't speak.
Arnaud. I think it's Arnaud.
Yeah, it is Arnaud, but my pronunciation of it, because I don't speak French, is like trying to pronounce like a long German name. I'm gonna butcher it.
Mm,
So I would rather not try and have you speaking and German
I
speaking.
I don't speak French either, by the way. So
No, I mean, if I was trying to pronounce a really long German name, I wouldn't even
mm,
try. I would tell you as a German speaker to pronounce it for me. So that's
mm,
that's what I did, but it came out uh, looking like I was making fun of French people, which I wasn't. Which I wasn't. Hmm. My friend, it was nice seeing you. It was nice talking to you.